Afternoon, everyone. This is a special meeting. Today is March 26, 2020. The time is 1:08 p.m. We're meeting with our auditor to go over a couple of items. I am calling this meeting to order. Attending in person are Commissioners Duncan and Filios. Joining us by phone, Commissioner Bill Brooks. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll turn it over to our auditor, our Director of Finance, Dena. Dena, I forgot your last name. Darrow, I got it right.
Here, pick your agenda, the other one.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, okay, yeah, so the first item is goals for today. Go right ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so up on the board right now, you'll see our working agenda. We have an hour set aside. I don't know that we need a full hour, but today our goal is to look at what our reserves are above and beyond our 2-month operating cushion, which was decided last year in a resolution. So we're going to look at where we started, how much we have to work with, and then that total, and then go through the spreadsheet, look at our current assignments. You can move that money around, and you can allocate the new money to have our new fund balance assignments. This is all just sitting in fund balance.
Understood.
It just sits in two accounts out there. These are amounts that are parked for future use, like if you wanted to allocate them and use them to fund something in the budget. This is kind of our savings account that we can play with to allocate. So the purpose of today's meeting is to look at your balances and park them where you think you're going to need them from now until we're done with the budget, okay?
Right.
But we won't allocate anything, we won't change the budget. We're just saying we're going to park these amounts here because we think this is where we would like to use them, okay? But nothing is final until we actually put it in the budget.
Understood.
It's going to sit out there.
So we're putting a stake in the ground in essence.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So to speak.
So we're going to review where we are today. I'll give you a quick peek at how I got to these numbers, and then we'll look at where the numbers are now and where you would like to put them. We can add new categories if you want. So without further ado, we'll just go ahead and dive in. And you've seen this spreadsheet before.
Yep.
I gave it to you last week. So our policy calculation, we took a look at our personnel budget for 2020 amended. We looked at what our projected actual would be based on spending, and we looked at the 2019 budget, and according to our policy, this is the number that we're going to work with for personnel and operating. If we take those two numbers, that's our base amount. So 2 months of operating for that number that we took as our base is what we need to set aside. Everything else after that is extra.
Go ahead.
So your extra is 66,74,280. If we add that to what we have in there now, which is 71,15,249, you have a total to work with of approximately 8 million. So we're going to go here. So this beginning assigned fund balance is the assignments that you did last year. You'll recognize this 12.3 million, I'm sure.
Yep.
So what I did, and what we normally do, I'm going to crack this open. I adjust this beginning for anything where you took this assigned fund balance and you pulled it out and you stuck it in the 2020 budget. So you'll recognize that 5 million and then the 5-year plan. And
Right.
Again, this is just general fund. There were other fund balances we used for the budget, but they're in restricted accounts and they don't apply here. So it's
Understood.
just Fund 10, Fund 11, and Fund 15 is where the assigned fund balance lives. So I adjusted those beginning balances because we know we've already committed those for this year's budget. Over to the right here, this is what we have sitting out right now in assigned fund balance under these categories. So you have this new, you've got existing money here, which is assigned over here.
Yep.
Plus your new money.
Yep.
Equals the total
The
that
13
you
and
can
change.
park, which
Yep.
is this target amount.
Yep.
So, and this amount has to do with a machine-generated balancing for our retained retained earnings, how our system works. So that just has to sit there as a set amount. So other than that, that's just a plug.
Dena, can I ask you
Yeah.
a question?
Sure.
The facility improvements, capital construction, it says 1,419,679.
Yep,
Did we take $5 million out of there?
yes.
For the 2020 budget, we intended to
Oh,
spend
I
5 million.
missed that part.
So here's, Shawn, here's where I took it out.
I missed
Yeah.
it.
That's okay.
Sorry, Dena.
No, it's fine, it's fine. So,
Um,
That 5 million now is considered signed, restricted?
it's in the budget, it's committed.
commit.
So you
I
can
know all those
decommit that.
words.
You, at the end of the, when we get into the budget season, we could decommit that. And you could put that back in the assigned fund balance, or you could recommit it to the new budget.
And that was, well, the new building was part of that, correct?
That-
Yes,
And
so,
Dena,
yes.
You can roll it over too, right?
Yeah, exactly, you
It's
can
just a
roll it
parking
over.
space.
Right, it's a parking space, so, but this 5 million that has the negative sign there, that was actually committed to the 2020 budget. It's sitting in the 2020 budget. We can take it out of the 2020 budget, we can roll it forward into 2021. It's probably not gonna get spent.
So we would add that to the 13 million and really say that we have 18 million right now.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. So, that said, we can go down the line if there's amounts that you want moved that are sitting out here now. Say parking lots. Shawn, are we done with parking lots? Do we?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't have, here, I'll make it real easy for you. The parking lots are done. So, and I don't have a capital request in for any, it's up to the board, but the government way, Romer Property Engineering, I'm not sure about that one.
Where's that?
There's a couple of them. I mean, I don't know if you want to leave the Romer one. Am I getting ahead of you, Dena?
No, it's fine. I think it's good to talk about the ones that are sitting out there, and maybe we just want that money to go back into like the general pot. I put this up here because of the situation we're dealing with right now. This general reserve it's sitting in assigned, and it's not really earmarked for anything, but it's a reserve account. It's just where we put the excess.
So is that excess from 2019?
It's the balancing number to get to your ending assigned fund balance. If you don't specifically earmark it for an item, we just throw it into general reserve.
Gotcha.
So if you don't know where to put something, we can dump it in general reserve, which is basically a rainy day fund.
Okay, all right, so far, I'm good with healthcare expenses, grant match, parking lots is going away, admin, build-out, engineering. I'm okay, I thought we had done away with that already, did we not, apparently?
No.
Yeah, I thought we had talked about that we weren't going
Right.
to build out the ad.
But we only do this
Oh.
exercise
Once a year, so we made the decision
So,
afterwards.
Right, so about this time
Okay.
every year, we do this exercise. So if we know that we're not gonna build out the admin building, we just take it off.
Yeah,
For fiscal '21.
Yeah,
Well,
so
forever.
We're not
Forever.
gonna build out the ad.
We're not gonna build it, all right, take it out, okay.
Yeah.
fine.
It's not
no, because we have nowhere for the second floor to go while the third floor is
Yeah,
being
yeah,
built
that's good.
out,
gonna,
and
nowhere to relocate.
And by the way, why do we have 150,000 for the Romer?
We had
Because
said
that's where we were last year at this time.
for
Right,
just
this
demolition.
year, this time last year, we were gonna tear the building
Well,
down.
no, you're right, but
So
we,
then we were looking at putting 2 buildings, and that's where that came from. So that's why I said a minute ago.
Can we
it's up
back-
to you know,
can we back that off now?
Yes, absolutely.
It's out.
Yeah,
I would think you can, just keeping in mind that if things don't work out with what you
Julianne and
have going
company.
on now, you might wanna bring some parking lot money over and pave it. I don't know.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, that works.
That's kind of what I was going to think about, if worse comes to worse, which I hope it doesn't.
I do have a question, back up for a moment.
Sure.
When Leslie asked, and you said, yeah, that's correct, that, how do I use the right terms here, that the fund balance is 18 million, that the 5 million got added to that, why wasn't the 5 million, or why isn't the 5 million part of the 7 million that is unassigned? Help me to understand.
It's very confusing. So I'll just stand up here. So this column was before we did the 2020 budget. So we meet about this time of the year in April, March, April. And we say,
Wish
okay,
list.
this is just sitting out in assigned fund balance. Where do you want to park this money? So we do it in the middle of the current fiscal year. So this is where we were last year about this time. Then the budget came along. So then we said, okay, of this money that's sitting out here, how much of it do we want to commit to the budget and say we're going to spend in the new budget? So we pulled it out of this pool.
Understood.
We pulled it out, and this is what we have left in the pool. Now, if we don't spend this, it can go back to fund balance.
Understood.
So if you know that you're not going to spend this, then in theory, you can say, well, this is part of the total. Just add it to the total.
Got it. Fair enough. Thank
So
you.
we can do that. We can do that with a journal entry.
Okay.
So, but that's the reason why there's that shift in resources, is because technically that 5,118,800 is committed
Okay.
for the budget for 2020.
Okay.
Not dedicated, right?
Well, it's committed as if we're gonna spend it, but
Yeah.
none of it's been spent yet. Dan?
You know, I have a question.
Sure.
How much money do we have in the bank? That's all I want to know. I
Ask
mean,
the treasurer.
That's Steve, right?
Yeah,
How much?
it's gonna blow your mind.
109 million and some change.
Well, I guess what I mean is if this is my household account. You know, there's the money that buys the milk and eggs and butter, and then there's the bank account that I set aside over there, and if I want to go take a trip or buy something, that's off. How much money is in our bank account for?
This is our savings account.
Yes, the
This
savings
is our excess reserves. So right now in our savings account, there's that you can spend. 13.4 is what you could spend.
And when you say non-committed versus committed, there's $5 million committed, but could that $5 million be put right onto that $13 at the snap of a finger? Sure. So there's roughly about
With a snap of my journal entry fingers, yes, I can make that happen.
Two
With the
signatures.
board approving.
2 signatures and the snap of a journal. So we got 18 million bucks ostensibly that we, if all hell broke loose, that's what I want to do.
Bingo.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's a little bit more than that, because that $5 million is just a component of the current restricted balance. I don't know what the total restricted balance is.
The restricted balance would be,
Committed, I
yeah,
think.
committed balance also, yeah, there's more in the committed balance. That 118, I think we've spent some of that. Capital planning down here, IT capital planning, I don't know how much of that has been spent. So we could go through and just see how much of the committed has actually been spent.
Right.
Okay, let me ask you a question. This spreadsheet here is only focused on assigned and unassigned fund balance.
Correct. In funds 10, 11, and 15, which are considered the general fund.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're at line 75
Yeah,
for
keep
sheriff
going.
campus admin expansion. Is this,
Can okay. I'm thinking a little bit outside the box, and you and I kind of had this discussion. So that money was set aside originally for expanding the admin at the sheriff's office. We just kind of rolled it around. It's been in there for a couple of years now. The two places for sure that you know that you have a problem with space-wise is here and at the sheriff's department.
Okay.
Now, I know with what's going on right now with COVID-19, we're starting to kind of maybe get an idea of who can actually work from home, and, you know, that could be, when it's all said and done, instead of us needing 5 floors and a shell, you might only need 3 floors and 2 shells.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
Or
Keep
4
going.
floors, we can determine that space
Exactly.
later. Most likely, you still will need to borrow to build that.
Right.
So my thought process is, if you took, I would venture to say, a couple $1 million of fund balance, and you stuck it in the detectives, and you stuck it in the sheriff's admin, they're done for 15 years. They're done. You don't ever have to do anything for them for a long time. The work release could continue in the jail as long as the numbers stay down, correct,
Yes,
Dan?
yes.
So if you're just, I guess what I'm saying is if you're looking for a place to drop some money and get a big hit for it, knowing that both projects are still 2 years away at best, by the end of the day, like you and I talked about, you might have enough money saved up to pay for them yourself, like the city of Post Falls did with their new city hall. They just kept putting money in the kitty, and they kept the design going, and they kept engineering going. By the time the two came together, they had enough money to,
So
my
go ahead.
point is, you could take that 75 and stick it with some other stuff, and maybe set some aside to do both. And then, if you could figure out a way, especially if you could figure out a way, in my mind, to do both with your own savings account, and now you're set for 15 years, wow, the county really put themselves in a
So
good
you're
spot.
saying, you're imagining us building from savings or fund balance?
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, you're already sitting at 13.4. If you want to take that 5, now you're at 18. Now, you know you're going to have to spend some of it in different places, but if you parked, let's just say this year you parked 5, you just left the 5 there for the one building.
Sure.
And you parked 2 million.
For the sheriff.
For the sheriff's.
Okay?
And then the next year, when we're doing this, you go, okay, let's go out to design, which you know is gonna take a year, okay? The next meeting, oh, we got the same numbers, let's put another 5 there, but I don't know that we have to help the sheriff. And then the following year, when you're ready to build, you've got 15, 17 million sitting in your admin build-out.
So if you're borrowing at all, it's minimal.
Right.
I really think if these numbers
Theoretically.
continue and the URDs come in, you're not gonna have to borrow at all. If Leslie
that's a
and I
good
had
point.
a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
conversation about this yesterday. For instance, community development in the new plan had a half of a floor of the
Sure.
new building. Do you really need a half of a
Right. So all this is predicated on the hot wash that will happen after life gets back to normal,
Yeah.
please. And then we'll reevaluate each department and say, how did you like working from home? Did it work for you? Oh, it didn't work for you? Okay, then your plans stay the same. Oh, it did work for you? You guys love it? All right, let's do some desk sharing. Let's do some,
And some departments have more resident interaction than others.
correct.
And it could be that at the end of the day, you could save $7 or $8 million by figuring out how to get people to work at home. I mean, the public defender's got to come back.
Yeah.
That's a given, but.
And new courtrooms, I mean, those
and
are,
the courtrooms, you need
Anyway,
some new
it's-
courtrooms and
Yeah.
stuff.
So what are you suggesting now for this exercise?
I'm just suggesting
Go ahead.
that you maybe put a couple more $1 million in your facility improvement capital construction,
So you want to take it up to 7?
take it up to 7, and then make
well,
it.
let's keep it split out, though. Let's keep the sheriff's campus.
So you want to pull up,
2
Right.
million.
And then take the.
That
Yes.
gives that 2 million.
all right, there
Yes.
you go.
Yeah,
and
Okay,
then-
fine.
And then just let it sit, and, I could get together if you ever decide to do it, and we could have another, like a master plan space meeting with the sheriff's command staff, because we had one already. That's where that originally came from, was their biggest need.
Okay, got it.
right.
So that way, now you're just rolling it over and sitting on it, and if you ever decide to spend it, fine. If you get yourself in a bad spot, the money's there.
Steve, is there ever a possibility that we'll be charged to keep our money in the bank just because interest rates?
Oh, you mean negative interest?
It's possible? Okay.
So I added an item in here because we were having this conversation. I don't know if you want to park some money.
Yes.
Because in the immediate future, it sounds like we're going to need to beef up our ability for people
Yes.
to work at home. So this might be something to park, to think about for the 21 budget, or even before that, we could park it here, and then mid-year, if we need to, we could pull from this and increase the budget.
Correct. I just wouldn't even have a guess about how much that would cost.
Didn't Grant say like, what, 60,000?
I was just gonna say something like 50, so put 60 in there.
Or 100.
Or put 100,000 in,
Okay.
and then we'll see what happens. It's probably not gonna cost that
Okay,
much.
great. So there's a couple other ones sitting here.
I'd like to keep that.
I'd like to keep the campus security. We just need better camera system.
Yeah, I
That's true.
totally agree with that.
Yeah, we're pretty
I
exposed.
think it might even be something that you might want to think about doing.
Yeah.
Sooner than later now, because all your parking lots have conduit to the poles.
Yeah, so that's
Now you
actually,
said-
I was gonna, that was one of my conversations with IT, is talking about maybe bringing that forward. Super light conversation though, because it was really early in the thing, but,
Okay.
yeah, possibility.
Do we want to just make that a round number?
Yeah, it looks pretty funky.
I think we were just balancing things out last year.
Okay.
So if we add that, that makes it an even 300.
Okay.
Commissioners, on the issue of campus security, I think it's fair to bring this up now. In our fiscal '21 budget, the camera system at the jail is I mean, it's on its way out, it's outdated. And we've gotten bids from, 100,000 to 500,000 or 600,000. And I realize that's a big gap, but we haven't dialed down far enough right now to know exactly what that's going to be. But in fairness, I just think that is an absolute necessity for that jail. I don't know if you want to talk about that in the context of this, but
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because we have juvenile detention that is also needing radios and camera replacement. So these are items that
Yeah,
are
they-
not
yeah.
negotiable. They have to be,
Yeah,
Yeah.
JT is under, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to park an amount, say, down in justice for camera systems and replacements?
Yeah, let me do a little bit of mental math here. 60,
50?
no, we need a lot more than that. So we'll just start with 250 for jail camera system, and, because we just don't,
you
no,
got to put a stake in the ground somewhere.
yeah.
Is it inside or outside?
It's inside.
So you're
So-
thinking sheriff and detention?
No, I'm still adding, so,
A little higher
yeah,
Oh,
I would say put it at 450, 450,000
for both.
for
I
both.
think that's reasonable. It could be more, it could be less, but
Well, Grant can dial that number down.
Yes. So we still have 4,500 that needs to be, or about 4,600?
4.6 million left.
Million.
Plus, if there's any of these that you want to minimize, I know 5-year plan usually has $1 million in it.
Yeah,
You wanna replenish that?
5-year plan, we're gonna have some heavy, heavy things coming out. We need like 10 units at the jail, HVAC
I've
and
got that
JD's.
covered.
Oh, okay.
I got
you
that
got that covered?
Oh, for this year.
for this year.
Oh,
You're gonna
okay.
have- you've got that-
JJC,
You've got the chiller problem at the JJC. And
that's 90 grand.
I know, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's why
So,
for 3 years I tried to live it.
I know, and then the roof for JJC?
The roof is gonna have to be fixed. You know, there's more RTUs at the jail that always could be done.
Okay.
You know, great. I just have a fear someday that this thing up on the top, I know, but it's the reality of the
Yeah.
situation. But that's a whole.
Right.
Because once that goes, all the controllers have to be changed. That's
Right.
something that we would want to build into the new building.
Correct,
to
yeah.
Get it done. But I think,
So another 450 for JJC?
Jeez.
I know, it's unbelievable.
we just-
no, I don't think you need that.
Not that much?
No, I
Do you
think.
want to
if you
replenish
put-
to $1 million and then maybe add $500,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Why don't we sell it?
I know. Well,
I think you're gonna get,
That's the
I think
problem.
you're gonna
Yeah.
get a savings on that.
Okay.
And again, we're just parking money, we're not
Yes.
committing it.
Right.
correct.
Got it.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
just kind of a guess. I want to go on a vacation to Hawaii, and I think it's going to be $5,000. You know, I mean, just kind of ballparking it until we go get quotes. So the thing that's not on here, before we get too far down the road, is is it the evidence storage that we're getting the bid or the engineering?
Yeah,
CSI
Is that what it is? Okay,
Right now, there's $76,000
Yeah.
in there.
okay. And that's committed funds.
Figure 73, yeah, because it was set aside and budgeted, and then it was
Yeah,
rolled
rolled
over
over.
from the previous one. I think we
Yeah.
So it's
stayed-
sitting in the budget.
So it's
Okay.
sitting there. I mean, it's so hard to say, if you wanted to stick 50,000 in there just to make sure there's enough to, in case the bids are all over the place
Yeah.
right now. And they're just crazy. So that's up to you. It's not a monstrous thing, but if you want to put 50,000 in there, you can.
That's fine.
As a safe. Do you want to increase the capital construction by $1 million from 1.4 to 2.4?
Let's make it 2.5 just to be
2.5?
even numbers.
Just saving your money for a couple years in advance.
So you're gonna change that to 2.5?
And once again, this is just shots in the dark. This is not what we're going to spend the money on. This is just saying these are possibilities.
Just a parking spot.
Okay?
Okay. You have,
2.8 left?
yep, you've got 2.8 left.
Okay, so can we bring IT back up to 600,000?
Shawn, if we were to, if April or May, we were to make a decision to proceed with phase, I'm going to call it phase one, choosing an architect for the building, realistically, what would we spend in fiscal '21?
Well, a lot of that depends on the size of the building.
I mean, we wouldn't begin construction, best
No,
case, until
no,
toward the
but
end of,
it just depends, like right now, it's 5 floors and a shell. At, what did we say it was, let's see, 80,000 square feet, I think we cut like.
I think you had 24 million bucks total.
So just figure, the safe way to do that would be, we were thinking that it was gonna be a $20 million,
24.
$20 million. So let's just say if we can shave that down to 17 million, about 10%. So if you set aside
1.7.
1.7, you're not gonna spend all that
Right.
in that year, but at least there's a line item now if you decide to do that, where it starts coming out.
So do you want to stay with the 5 million for facility improvement, or should we raise it?
Well, so that's in this year's budget, so that's separate. So moving forward, we are setting aside 2.5 million. And if we added that to the 5
Over and
million.
above?
Over and above.
Over and above, okay, I'm sorry,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
So
So-
you're almost halfway to the building on your own.
So what are we left to allocate, 2.4?
2.7.
2.786.
Oh, 2.7,
Yeah.
And, you could always just dump it in this general reserve, given. the
you know, for now, that's
uncertainty.
probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. And I need to have the conversation. What kind of reserves do we want? Let's say our wish list came true. We got all of our projects done. Now we're, looking good for 15 years. What do we want to have in there? Not, because we got our 14 million, which is our, emergency. But what do we want for projects going forward?
I would think IT infrastructure is gonna be your biggest thing.
I would-
Because we're so behind. I mean, we need a new ERP system.
Yeah, oh my
We need a new
gosh.
document management system.
Oh.
I know IT's looking at a replacement for paperclip because
Yep.
it's not supported anymore, and that's huge. I mean, we
Yeah.
have software that we're using right now that you can't even get updates for anymore, like Adobe. we should be transitioning from licenses to subscription-based software. All of that costs money.
So how much should we add? What do you
IT.
think?
Well, we're not gonna be able to do it this year, but just as a future item, I think that in the next 3 years, we should seriously start mapping out what our IT needs are as a county so that we have something in place for the next 15 years, because that's basically our virtual building. That's
Yes.
virtual.
And that's what they've done. They have a 5-year plan, and so it's pretty fascinating.
So do you want more than 600,000 in their capital?
Yes,
So take it to a mill.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, the other thing too, that right along those lines, because those departments run so close together, you're eventually, some of your infrastructure within the buildings is gonna need some attention, just like this $90,000 chiller. You know, you're pecking away at it a little bit at a time, but
But if we keep our 5-year plan at $1.5 million,
that's what I was gonna say, but you
Yeah.
know, if you can stay on task with the 5-year plan and not start fracturing it off,
yes,
then you can probably catch up to where you need to be in about 3 to 5 years.
So anyway,
You'll have to make sure that you're allocating for that so that you don't get in that spot where you can't keep up.
I parked the balance into general reserve,
yep,
Okay.
and as we go along, we'll have a better idea.
yep, I
Okay,
agree.
Great. So what happens next? Let me just add this.
David, is there a item, specific item, of true contingency?
We have contingency in the budget, and then our 2-month reserve
Reserves.
is this 14
I'm not talking about, I'm just talking about, we have to.
million. That's what this general reserve is, basically.
That's how we're talking.
Okay. So right now, our general reserve is at almost 3.5 million, which honestly, I think, given the uncertainty that we're in right now, I think that's a wise place to put it.
Yep,
So what's gonna happen next is I'm gonna finalize this, I'm gonna send it out to you guys.
Yep.
And I'm going to draft a resolution for you to sign at next Tuesday's business meeting, which will have a high-level summary of this.
Yep.
Just at these high-level, on the resolution, there won't be a lot of detail, but it will have what you've earmarked here.
Right.
And then you'll adopt that resolution, and then that will be what's sitting in the system for you to draw upon for the 2021 budget. Then when we close the budget year, all of that will roll through, and then next March, April, we'll visit this again.
Okay, and just, for anybody who's listening or gonna watch this later, I mean, all this money is available. So if this COVID thing turns any uglier, it's not just 3.5 million, we have all those numbers that we just set aside.
That's true.
So we're in decent financial shape right now, depending on what the outcome is.
And I have to say too, I gotta give the commissioners credit because we were using fund balance pretty heavily the last few years. And last year, you made a special effort to not use fund balance for anything that was continuing expenses, and we were able to build some of that back. So I think fiscally, you guys are in really good shape.
Yeah, and I
Thank
agree
you.
with that. You guys, outstanding job last year in that budget process. That was not an easy one.
If you think that wasn't easy.
Well, we had
Just
good help,
wait.
so thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Okay.
That's all I had.
Public comment? None. 1:42, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.